So you started a new side project. Again, you wrote some boilerplate, made a cool landing page, got stuck on auth, and never touched it again. Or maybe you got real excited about a new project or a shiny new framework, and then you just turned into Mr. Krabs without a care in the world what happens to your current project, leaving you with a graveyard of unfinished apps. Couldn't be me. Okay, it is me. So why do programmers, no matter how good they are, struggle to finish projects? Well, it all starts with your brain. Your brain loves starting projects. That first burst of energy, that's dopamine. It feels productive, but it's not. It's just a trap. Studies have shown your brain releases more dopamine in response to the anticipation of reward, more so than the reward itself. That means the idea phase, oh man, I want to build this, I want to build that. It's chemically more exciting than the build phase. What if I made a to-do app, but it uses AI and blockchain and runs on a smartwatch? And just like that, you're off. Again, but let's say you actually stick with the project more than a day. Congratulations, you're better than most. But now comes the next killer, and that is scope creep. So let's say you're building something simple like a blog. Very straightforward. You just want to be able to share some of your coding and builds or photos or whatever on your own website. But then you think, oh, well, maybe I should add user authentication so people can comment on it and not just get a bunch of spam. And then, well, some people like dark mode. Let me make dark mode and light mode. And then, this would be easier with like a CMS, right? And then what if I do email notifications for those users I don't have yet? And then what about an AI writing assistant? And then the list goes on and on and on and on. You have building all of these features that nobody asked for and you have no users. Before you know it, you're trying to recreate an all-in-one productivity app with 3 developers in a dream, with 2 of those developers being Claude and Gemini arguing over syntax. And the reason we do this is because we severely underestimate just how long a task will take, especially one that you're unfamiliar with. And this isn't just me spewing nonsense like I normally do. This is actually science.
It's science.
Or so they say. It's called the planning fallacy. We tend to assume best case scenarios and overlook potential obstacles in these things that we build, especially when dealing with something complex and again, something you're unfamiliar with. Take that, add a bit of Dunning-Kruger overconfidence, and boom, you've overscoped yourself. You need to just focus on the MVP and make sure you scale down, scope down that MVP, something that is literally a minimum viable product, nothing more, nothing less. And you wouldn't build a house by just hammering nails randomly into walls and hoping for the best, right? But for some reason, you code like that, don't you? Don't lie to me. I've done it. I do it. A lot of devs do this all the time. We start writing code without planning anything. No project roadmap, no MVP, just vibes, and I ain't talking just vibe coding. That's another discussion in and of itself. We'll get to that in a second. But when you do this, then you're halfway through, or how you feel halfway through, you hit a wall and you think, what was I even building again? One of my projects is literally this. It's like, okay, I implemented a handful of things I thought I needed. Now this looks nothing like the thing that I thought I needed. And this isn't just bad luck like it happens to just one of us or it's happenstance. This is science.
Yes, science!
And all of these scientific things have names to them, apparently, and this is cognitive load theory. It explains that without a system, your working memory gets overloaded and you burn out. So not only do you not have a clear goal, but you're working yourself into the ground because you don't have a clear goal, because you can't check off those tasks as you get them done on this long list of tasks to make it feel like you're actually getting stuff done. Because actually, without these clear goals, motivation tanks. Again, science. It's called the goal gradient effect. Progress boosts motivation, whereas ambiguity kills it. But here's the thing. I'm actually a huge proponent of getting started without a blueprint, which sounds, well, it sounds like the opposite of what I just said. But I think when you have that excitement in you, you do have that dopamine release or whatever you want to call it. You're just like, man, this is an exciting project. I want to work on it. I think you should just work on it. I don't think you should sit there for hours on end and try to figure out every little thing you need to do. You have an overall goal, maybe plan out a couple things, and then dive right in. I don't want you to get so overwhelmed with planning something out that you never started in the first place. But at the same time, there's a point where you actually need structure. Some way to track what you're doing, what's done, and what needs to get done next. And I didn't say all this just to mention today's sponsor, but man, was that clean. This could all be solved if you use Monday.com, which genuinely helps with stuff like this. Instead of juggling your entire project in your head or across 5 different docs, one doc for ideas, another for bugs, a notepad file called don't forget this.txt, and 20 sticky notes spread across your monitor, you can actually do all of this in one place, monday.com. It's your all-in-one workspace where you can break down big ideas into actionable steps, assign tasks, set deadlines, add automations, integrate with GitHub, and see your entire project at a glance. You want Kanban boards? They've got them. Gantt charts? They have that too. Calendar view? Absolutely. Or my personal favorite, just drag stuff around until it looks done. You can also build dashboards to get a snapshot of your project's health, so instead of guessing how far along you are, you actually know. And whether you're in a team or you're a solo dev, it's genuinely helpful. And the automations are nice. You can set them up to automatically notify teammates, update statuses, move tasks between columns, or even trigger external actions when something changes. If you've ever had to tackle all of these admin chores, you know just how much time it chips away from your day. So if this sounds helpful to you, you can give it a try for free when you use the link below in the description. Oh yeah, you know what else kills momentum? Perfectionism. This is something that I struggle with. From my videos to my programming projects, I see something so minor. This could be a little bit more rounded, or this code could be slightly more refactored in a better way, or this variable isn't named something as accurate as I wanted it to. Like some of these really dumb things that really don't matter in the grand scheme of things, I just focus on them way too much. It's like I finished the core features, but then I'm stuck in endless refactors. Oh, I could touch this UI up a bit. And while I'm here, let me refactor this code. Maybe I should rewrite it in TypeScript. Or wait, you know, what if I switch to Astra? That'll fix my problems. Actually, I should just start everything from scratch. You convince yourself your project isn't ready, but guess what? It never is. This is actually a self-defense mechanism. According to studies on self-handicapping, we procrastinate or over-perfect to avoid failure or judgment. You know how many times I look at code that goes out in my videos just to make sure, like, oh, I want to make sure it's all as perfect as possible, because if something's a little bit wrong, then some expert or some internet expert is going to call me out on it, and I don't want to. It's like, screw all of that. Again, not just in videos, but if you're open sourcing a project or your UI or something's working a certain way, you just get stuck on that. And then you take that and you add that to the overwhelming number of choices that you have. And then it's just analysis paralysis, because more choice leads to less action, according to this study. And according to my own experience. If you give me 5 different choices of where to eat, I'm like, I don't know. If you have like one choice, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. What you need to realize, what I need to realize is that good enough to ship is better, way better than perfect, but forever in dev mode. Can I say dev mode? Or is Figma going to sue me? Whatever. You just got to block out the noise. Block out what you think other people are going to think of your work. And when you actually release it, block out the just negative comments for negativity's sake, like I'm sure there's going to be under this video. Constructive criticism is one thing. Negative comments for really no good reason is another thing. You need to block it out, because I'm not going to let negative comments stop me from making videos about things that I enjoy. And they shouldn't stop you from shipping apps. And even though your GitHub looks like a cemetery, that's not always a bad thing. I mean, obviously you want all of those to be done, finished, to market projects, but along the way, you've learned new things. You learned a little bit of a new programming language, or new tools, or new folder structures, a better way to organize your code, or how not to scope an app. This is backed by Kolb's experiential learning theory. Real learning happens through doing, reflecting, and adapting. So when you're vibe coding and letting the AI write all of your logic while you nod like a proud parent, you're not learning. That's LARPing as a dev at best. And look, use AI, sure, I encourage it, but you need to realize that you are still the pilot, so quit acting like the passenger. You know what? Here's another study just to show you. Desirable difficulties show that learning through struggle often produces better long-term results. And I think as programmers, we can all attest to that. But here's the thing, if you do want to start finishing things, it takes more than hype or that dopamine released by anticipation of the reward. What you need to do, what I need to do in my projects, is define a clear goal, scope down the MVP, and have some sort of system of accountability as well as progression tracking so you can actually feel maybe little dopamine hits as you complete each task. It doesn't matter if it's something like Monday.com or a sticky note on your desk, something. So the next time you get the urge to start something new, pause. Look at what you're already building, trim the fat of all of these grand ideas for that project, and define what it looks like for it to be done, for it to be good enough. And then once you do that, actually finish it. Or don't, and add it to the graveyard like the rest of us. I don't know, I'm not your dad. Just now you know why you ended up there, why you ended up with all of these unfinished projects and a few actionable steps to take in order to actually finish them. That's actually a really great idea. Make an AI app that finishes my projects for me. I can't believe no one thought of this before.